Down near the mantle, Tyler's powers are barely hanging on as he gets closer to the hotter lava. But just as Singe is about to blast Kendall's group, Tyler pops up out of the ground. Energem fully repaired, he goes Supercharge again. No! If I screw up at some point from here on, I'm gonna have a no! 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 Farts! Ladies and gentlemen, allow me to explain. 21 consecutive one takes without a blooper. And then I screwed up by forgetting half the line. No. Hello there, heroes. I am the Orange Ranger, and welcome to another Power Rangers Dino SuperCharge episode review. For those of you wondering, Chompsy is settling in quite nicely. He is currently making a lovely nest out of one of my old office chairs. Kaizoku's making sure he doesn't break anything important, so for today you just have me. So let's jump right into the 6th episode of Dino SuperCharge, Forged Under Fire. The episode starts with kind of a neat father-son scene between James and Tyler. It's bordering on the abusing your powers thing again, but I was so happy to get a shot of two Rangers helmetless that it was hard for me to be mad. Over with the villains, Singe has Zotac rings. Where did he get them? No need to concern yourself with a potential plot point like that. Anyway, they have the power to contain and drain any energy source, which makes them a perfect tool to fight against Energems. Heckle says to bring him the Energems or else, because he's kind of getting just as one note as Sledge was. Tyler and James get back to the lab, and we get reminded of some of the stranger aspects of this story that we have come to accept. James finds it very hard to believe that this team of Rangers includes a 100,000 plus year old caveman, an 800 plus year old knight, and the literal prince of a foreign nation. Oh, speaking of which, oh, hi Philip. After the show kind of beats us over the head with the yes, they look more like brothers than father and son because Energems note, Kendall takes Philip and James's Energems. She's working on a new ability for Supercharge mode that would allow it to access other weapons. Neat. James says the Aqua Energem stole 10 years of his life. Not really. I mean, I get it. It was the reason that you were on the run for 10 years. But that's the beauty of this season. With Energems, you don't age. So you are going to get those years back. It's more like the Aqua Energem borrowed 10 years of your life. Then, of course, we get James's Ranger backstory. Of course, we already saw him save Rusty and the cave-in. In the rocks, he found the Aqua Energem, which bonded to him because #heroic self-sacrifice FTW. However, Fury had been tracking them for a few days and demanded the Energem when he found it. He was able to get out of the cave, but Fury kept tracking him, and so he didn't feel it was safe to go home. You know, it was what I theorized last week. I just wish that the show had been brave enough for Fury to actually make the threat. Because without it, James's decision is kind of a leap in logic. Kendall detects alien bioscience and sends the Rangers to go investigate, but stops James and Philip because their Energems aren't done cooking yet. James really wants to go and fight alongside Tyler, but Tyler says it's fine, don't worry about it. Hunter is luring the Rangers out while Singe lies in wait. It works, but when Singe is about to take his shot, Fury interrupts, wanting the limelight. So Singe just shoots him instead, his Zotac rings limiting Fury's power even when he grows large. Tyler goes Supercharged to deal with Hunter, while the other Rangers summon the Zords. Which ends up leading to an incredible goof. The Rangers form the Megazord in Tristegoterra formation. Then Tyler morphs into Supercharge mode, which, as we've established, involves shrinking Rexy down to Morpher size. Then later we cut back to the Zord fight, and see that Rexy is still part of the Megazord, which means that the T-Rex Zord is in two places at once. This is, quite honestly, one of the worst mistakes Dino Charge has ever made. Moving on, Tyler beats up Hunter, who pretends to retreat, distracting Tyler so Singe can hit him with one of the Zocato rings or whatever. It drains Tyler back down to regular Ranger mode before he can break out of it. Up with the Zord Rangers, they hit Fury with a finishing move, which shrinks him back down. Singe and Hunter run into a nearby warehouse and the Rangers give chase and have another fight. Here's a funny thing from this fight though. Even if I hadn't seen the Sentai, by the way the Rangers fight and then stop to pose, I would figure that this was a roll call situation. Except they didn't use the roll call this time. And in fact, help me out here, heroes. Doesn't it seem like it's been a while since the Dino Charge Rangers have actually done a roll call? Singe aims for their Energems by spinning wildly around in a circle, but it works and all the Rangers end up with Zataran's rings on their Energems. It disrupts the really unclear connection between the Energems and the Dino Chargers, and the Rangers can't morph. But just in time, James and Philip show up and help the Rangers retreat. Kendall uses her transmuter device to get the zippity doodah ring off of Tyler's Energem, but unfortunately his Energem has not learned the valuable lesson of just saying no to crack. It's damaged, and Keeper tells Tyler that it's too risky for him to morph like this because it could cause further damage. Kendall says they need a source of intense heat and pressure to repair the Energem, and James suggests the caves where Tyler first found his Energem, since they have an active lava flow. I still don't think people would be allowed to go spelunking in a cave that has an active lava flow, but I digest. They head over to the caves, and while it's very subtle, we notice James starting to be a little overprotective, double-checking Tyler's work, making sure to tell him to be careful. I mean, it does make sense. The last time he saw Tyler, he was 8 years old. They find a lava flow in the cave, but it's not hot enough. Does lava have different temperatures? Tyler wants to use that glorious orange Dino Armor X charger to head down closer to the mantle. James doesn't want to let him do it, but Tyler stands up to him and tells him that it's necessary. He activates the Dax charger, which somehow makes him morph, even though it's not a morphing charger. Trust me, I wish it was. And he wasn't supposed to morph anyway, and he heads down. The tunnel collapses behind Tyler, and while James is of course worried, Kendall basically tells him to get over it and that Tyler's a big boy, especially since he's about to be attacked. She tells him to morph, and she and Philip head out to meet him there. Wait a minute. Does that mean... could it be? Yes, we finally see Kendall in action again. She morphs alongside Philip and James. You know, I'm not sure why, but this little team just seems to have a lot of spirit, doesn't it? Meanwhile, the other Rangers take inspiration from the first Dino-themed Rangers. As Shelby says, powers or not, they are Rangers, and they need to go fight. They run into Hunter and take him on unmorphed. I know in the past I've said morph already when unmorphed Rangers fight monsters, but as long as they can't morph, I actually really love seeing unmorphed Rangers fight monsters, being that brave. Down in the mantle, we see that Tyler's powers are barely hanging on as he gets closer to the much hotter lava. However, just as Singe is about to blast Kendall's group, Tyler pops up out of the ground. Energem fully repaired, he goes Supercharge again. He blasts Singe, and of course Singe guards himself with the wrist that has the Zoloft ring controller on it, so that's destroyed. Now that the Zakadu controller is destroyed, the rings blast off the other Energems, and Ivan leads a morph. Taking further inspiration from MMPR, the Rangers stack up in a weird formation, 2x2 in this case, and create an energy field that Ivan flies through to destroy Hunter. Back over with Singe, Kendall tells Tyler to access his new ability, using the other Rangers' weapons. which is something of a misnomer. While the Rangers' weapons and their Zords are quite similar, what this does more is turn Tyler into something of a mini Megazord. He's able to put 2 other Ranger Chargers and one of his into the Supercharged Morpher and access arm weapons that resemble the Rangers' Zords. We see Tyler go Tristego formation, Triangulo formation, Ankylopaki formation, and Pararaptor formation. By the way, it seems that Triangulo is his favorite, as he called it, ready for this? Morphenomenal. And by the way, it seems like his boots, and I'm guessing his gloves, though we can't really see them, change colors to the Zords he's using on those sides. Singe eggs Tyler on by calling him a walking carnival. I wonder where he got the idea for that little insult, huh? Tyler uses a finishing move on him and he retreats. Up on the ship, Singe and Fury have had enough of each other. And, like the father of squabbling brothers, Heckle has had enough of both of them. He takes away their weapons and locks them both in the cell, telling them that they have to learn to work together. In a final scene that can't really seem to decide on an emotional tone, we find out that Tyler took a selfie near the center of the Earth. Oh, and his dad is leaving. James and Keeper talked and decided that his talent would be better used looking for the Silver Energem, the 10th and supposedly last. That doesn't really make a lot of sense, since just last episode, Keeper said that it was vital that they add Aqua's power to help fight Heckle, but whatever. Episode 6, Forged Under Fire. Pros: there was a real MMPR vibe to this episode. The Zord arm ability of Supercharge is creative and awesome, and the theme of family dynamics is resonating with the Rangers and the villains. Cons: Rexy being in 2 places at once was an incredible error, Tyler morphing with the Dino Armor X Charger didn't make any sense, and the episode felt very rushed and had little plot. This episode needs to see me after class because serious mistakes were made. Forged Under Fire gets 3 super fossils out of 5. It was an interesting incidental side note to see the allusions to Mighty Morphin Power Rangers in this episode, and only one of them, the Rangers stacking up for a weird blaster finisher, was a result of the Sentai footage. Morphenomenal was just kind of a neat throw-in, kind of similar to Singe saying that Tyler looked like a walking carnival. But the Rangers fighting without their powers was the best allusion to the original team. It showcased the bravery that you see in some of the best Ranger squads. I really like Supercharge's weapon arm ability. If anything, I wish they had pushed it a little farther, done a little original CG to show the other Zords shrinking down like Rexy does to become the weapons, because it's clear that what Tyler uses on his arms are closer to the Rangers' Zords than to their weapons. But still, seeing a Ranger become a walking miniature Megazord is pretty neat. There's a real ongoing theme of family dynamics in this show. Riley and his family, Coda and his brother, and of course Tyler and his dad. But what struck me in this episode was the dark mirror reflection we see with the villains. Fury and Singe are now basically dysfunctional brothers trying to prove themselves over each other, always one-upping each other. And Heckle is their frustrated father. By the way, no Singe this week. But Heckle is their frustrated father doing whatever he can think of to get the two to just get along. Alrighty, now the bad. This episode had significant errors that weren't consequential to the main plot, but were absolutely infuriating to anybody who pays close attention to these episodes. You know, like say for example, an episode reviewer. How in the world do you miss the fact that Rexy is the Supercharged Morpher and then have Tyler go Supercharge while the other Rangers are still using Rexy as a Zord? It was, like I said, the worst mistake that this show has ever made. And quite frankly, Dino Charge, you're better than this. And then we get a second similar error when Tyler activates a Dino Armor X Charger and morphs. Never mind the fact that he wasn't supposed to morph, Keeper's warning could be seen as more of a strong suggestion, and it was a do or die moment. Activating a Dino Armor X charger does not make a Ranger morph. For a second, I thought they were actually going to put the grips on Tyler, and that would have been cool. And in the end, it just felt like there was very little actual plot in this episode. Fight scene, oh no, the Energem, go fix it. Fight scene, it's fixed, yay, fight scene, fight scene. And in a show like Dino Charge, which has done such a good job of balancing the action and the story, this was a very action-heavy episode and thus felt a little bit empty. That might be partially due to the fact that for some reason, this episode had 4 writers credited to it. Lynn, Barnes, and Dale were joined this week by Ann Austin, which is very interesting. Austin is actually deeply involved in the show's history, mainly co-producing alongside Doug Sloan. Austin was co-producer for Mighty Morphin Power Rangers through half of Turbo, returning to the show with Sloan for Ninja Storm and a little bit of Dino Thunder before leaving again. So it's very interesting and actually kind of encouraging to see Austin back with the show. However, it doesn't seem like she was fully educated at this point with this season, and thus we got an episode that felt out of step with the regular tone of the show and featured some serious factual errors. Today's featured comment goes to John Sidney, who actually almost always leaves me really long, detailed comments that make for some great conversations. But what I wanted to point out in this comment is that he loves Chompsy.
Hey, come on, kid. Everybody loves Chompsy. What's not to love about 9.5 inches of shiny orange alligator glory, eh? Eh?
Right, Chompsy. Right. In all seriousness, I'm really glad that you guys like him. You know, I have to admit, I was feeling kind of closed in by all of these enemies, so it's really good for me to have another ally. Oh, and speaking of which, Kaizoku told me the other day that he's also working on something else that might help. So, stay tuned on that. Speaking of staying tuned, we've got another episode coming. Unfortunately, that episode is not going to be next week. That's right, it's time for the 2016 Kids' Choice Awards, which, despite airing at night, for whatever reason, knocked Power Rangers off the air. But that just means you guys have 2 weeks to bend up your caps, oil up your gloves, and get some batting practice in to prepare for episode 7 of Dino SuperCharge, Home Run Coda. Kendall creates a new Victory Charger that requires the Core 5 Energems. But when Riley becomes Coda's coach on the Amber Beach Earthquake baseball team, he has a hard time pulling himself away from the game to help the other Rangers. So, with no new episode, what's going to be here next week? Well, I've decided to take this opportunity to talk to you guys about the channel. My thoughts so far, things I want to do in the future, and especially how you guys might just be able to help. So tune in next week for an Orange Ranger Video special, State of the Channel. That's going to wrap up another Power Rangers Dino SuperCharge episode review. Thank you guys as always so much for watching. Make sure to like the video by clicking the like button right down below. Subscribe to the channel to see Ranger reviews every week. And leave your thoughts on this episode in the comments below for your chance to be next week's featured comment. And of course, as always, may the power protect you. Which is something of a misnomer. Well, I really like Supercharge's weapon Zord arm. And thus we got an episode that felt out of step with the tone of the show and just didn't seem to know the farts. That is going to wrap up another Power Rangers Dino SuperCharge episode review. Thank you guys so much for watching. Make sure to like the video by clicking the like button right down below. Subscribe to the channel to see my Ranger reviews every week. And leave a comment with your thoughts on the episode down below for your chance to be next week's featured comment. What was that? I was talking so loud I literally don't know what that was.